It's the job. Go. All right, hi. Today we are at the Nike Lake Resort, now a landmark paradise. And I have with me someone very interesting, someone you want to know. Okay, he is a renowned estate magnate and he is the founder and CEO of the Landmark Group Africa. And this is Mr. Paul Onwanibe. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
It's such a pleasure to sit out with you this evening.
The pleasure is mine.
Good to see you.
For asking me
I heard you've been very busy.
I have been, but I'm used to it. So.
Okay. First, how have you been finding Enugu State?
Wonderful.
Tell me.
Hospitable.
Okay.
So I have history with Enugu, by the way.
Please tell me. That's what I want to know.
Yeah. So I spent some of the best days of my life here. I went to university here. I read architecture at University of Nigeria in Enugu campus.
Wow.
And after architecture, I did my youth call in Jos and then went straight abroad.
Okay.
And I was abroad. And I've been abroad ever since, more or less, right? But
yeah.
I spent 20 years before coming back again.
Okay.
So I didn't see Enugu for another 20 odd years.
How did you feel when you came back? You know, being here now, how do you feel?
Amazing. As I said, the connections.
Okay.
I'm here for 3 reasons, right? And I'm giving you one. This was my childhood stomping ground. And I've seen Enugu transform. And there's just so many things that I relate to. I had my graduation party in this hotel.
Here?
In this hotel.
Did you ever think for a moment or for a day that you'd be back here doing this? Was there any inclination of that sort?
Not in my wildest dreams. You know how it is when you finish university in a university town. I finished and I said goodbye Enugu, right? But
bye
Enugu, right? But having said that,
okay.
I married my wife from here.
Really?
She's from here. She grew up, born, raised, and brought up here.
Okay.
So there's another emotional and sentimental reason.
Oh no, you're home.
To love here. I'm home, absolutely.
You're home. And it's so nice to know that you have this sort of relationship with the city, because this is one of the best news Enugu has had in a while. When we heard that Landmark was coming here, we were so excited. And we were excited for so many reasons, right? So first of all, tell us, what's the actual plan? Let's hear from the horse's mouth. What's the plan for this place? Because I know, just like you, a lot of people have history here. A lot of people experience this place and they have good memories of this place. But after a while, you know what happened. The management running from the Marriott and all of these people who have run this place in the past, and now Landmark. What do you think, or what do you have in store for Nike Lake Resort?
Okay. So let me start from the macro to the micro, or from the simple to the detail, right? So simply, this is a destination resort, and we need to return it back to its former glory and its past glory, in simple terms.
Okay.
But who are we, right? We're destination creators. So we're not hotel operators, by the way, we're destination creators. So what we're going to do here is very different for whatever has been done here in the past few years. This place is probably 45, 50 years done now, right? Old. And there have been various managers and various ways of trying to deal with this thing. So the first thing we want to do is bring as many people here as possible. Create a destination. The second thing we want to do is we want to keep them here as long as possible. So we want to give them things to do. We want to give them amazing experiences, exceptional adventure, and then the third thing we want to do is make sure they go away and tell other people about us, right?
Okay. Okay, I'm thinking things in my head, but I'm listening to you.
Yes.
Okay, so I hear that it could be in my situation. That's like a terminology in your business where it's meetings and events and stuff like that.
Yes.
Or is it mainly going to be leisurely entertaining? What's the market here?
So that's a great question, by the way.
Okay.
An absolutely great question. And
All right.
I was speaking about this earlier. Look, there are 3 sets of people who come here, right? And the good thing about hotels like this, or resorts or destinations like this, is you can do many things, right?
All right.
So first, it could be MICE, right? Meetings, incentives, conferences, and events.
That's right. I did my research.
Yeah, you did. You have the knowledge.
I did.
And the thing about MICE is people don't realize how important it is to an economy, a city, a region, a country.
Okay.
MICE has built countries. Dubai is based on MICE. Singapore is based on MICE.
You don't say.
I mean, even major cities like London and New York started from MICE. I mean, it's all about attracting people to have their meetings, their incentives, their conferences, and events and exhibitions.
Okay.
Right? So we want to recreate that. And, look, we've only been here 3 months. We took over this place 3 months ago. And we've had some iconic MICE events already.
Okay.
And we have a big one coming up, the Nigerian Bar Association, which 2 to 3,000 people turn up,
heard.
right? We hosted the Anglican Bishops Conference, we hosted the Editors Guild, we hosted Rotary. So that 3 months, we've had quite a few events. And one of the great things about this environment and the governance of this environment is that the government is very keen on making Enugu a MICE center for the region, right?
Okay.
So we're going to help with that. The second thing, which you've rightly pointed out, is we want this to be a holiday resort. So whether you're coming for a city break, for a couple of days, you're coming for a couple of weeks with your family, we want to recreate this idyllic location so you're comfortable, you can walk in the park, you can swim in the pool, you can go to the lake, you can go on a boat ride, you can go to our adventure park, you can do a whole variety of things, right?
Okay.
So if there's something to do, it's going to be here, right? So that's the second. And then the third thing is thrill seekers, adventure lovers, right? We want to attract, whether it's sporting, whether it's music, whether it's fashion, there'll be a lot of shows and festivals that we're going to attract here. So those big, bulge, heavy people events. So we're going to do that. So we need to make sure that we curate not just the environment in a way that it meets these three sets of people, but also curate the hotel in a way that it meets these three sets of people without interfering with each other. The great thing is that the platform is already there. The hotel has 3 wings, right? And we're going through a process now of renovating the hotel. And we're putting some individual style into the different parts of the hotel.
Yes, because I was going to come in there and ask you what you thought about Enugu as a city. Do you think that the city itself is ready for the landmark experience? Do you think we're there now?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Really?
So look, Enugu as a state has almost 5 million people. The city has circa 1 million people. And correct me if you know more about those numbers than
correct.
I
Your
do.
data is correct.
But the region, within a 2.5-hour drive of here, there are 50 million people, right? Now let's talk about flights.
All right.
Within the 1.5-hour flight, obviously there are 200 million people, right? Just in the country alone. And then and further abroad. Now this used to be the capital of the old East Central State. So there's a lot of affinity towards this place. A lot of people come here and their parents are here or their grandparents or they have real estate or investments here. So there's a lot of attractions in the group. And we just have to give people a reason to keep on coming back and then give them a reason to stay a bit longer. And then give them a reason to invest a little bit more, right? So look, Enugu is ready for 3 reasons. One is the governance is ready. The people who control Enugu State have decided that they want to make Enugu a center of gravity. It's so important. If you don't do that, you're not ready, right? So that's that. I've seen that firsthand in Enugu. I've seen the transformation in a short period of time, and I can see where it's going. The second thing is what I just mentioned, the numbers game, right? Find out where the people are and get there first, right?
So we do have the numbers.
We have the numbers. There are 5 million people in the state, there are 1 million people in the city, and there are 200 million people in the country. But the point is that the region has 50 million people within effectively a 2.5-hour drive from here, right? So that makes it ready. And the third thing is where we're sitting today, in the landmark Nikki Lake Resort. I mean, there is nowhere in the country, I defy anybody to tell me there's anywhere in the country that has the potential that this place has. And
that's coming from you?
Absolutely. Nowhere in the country.
Okay, that's something.
I mean, look around. It's idyllic. It's large. It's already got the hotel. Obviously, it has to be renovated. The services are available. I mean, the lake is there. There's an island in the lake. I mean, there's nature. There's nowhere like this. So if we can transform this into the #1 destination in West Africa, we're going to have a good damn effort at trying, right?
I can imagine what the conversation I'm having with you is going to do to so many people who are thinking about coming down here to probably start something or look around and see what's really going on. So now that you're here, how much job creation are you looking at with all the good work you're doing?
Well, the great thing about tourism is, 1 in 10 people on planet Earth are employed in the tourism and the hospitality industry.
That's true.
Right? So, and you have to translate that down to the states, the cities, and the neighborhoods. 1 in 10 people in this neighborhood, 1 in 10 people in the state, 1 in 10 people in the city. If there are 5 million people in the state, then, it's obvious 500,000 people should be employed in tourism. Right now, nowhere close to that. Nowhere close to that. Now, when I do the numbers, we're going to directly employ something in the region of 1,000 to 2,000 people directly.
1,000 to 2,000?
Yes.
Directly?
Directly. Indirectly, we're going to employ something between, I would say, 8 to 10,000, and indirectly means not far away. Indirectly, as in people who work for us.
Yes,
are
maybe
employing those people.
remotely or stuff
Yes,
like that.
yes.
Okay.
And then supply chain employment, because whether it's buying chicken and the farm that produces the chicken,
imagine.
or making the chairs, or refurbishing the hotel, or those factories, or those construction companies, or those builders, those vendors, the people they
Yes.
employ just to service what we're doing here. That would run into tens of thousands. So I think from an employment perspective, it would do very well. But the biggest winner here is if we do this well, people will do the same thing, right? In different places.
Sure.
And that will employ even more people, and that would drive standards up, and that would bring competition, and that will provide alternatives to people. And when that happens, cities boom, states boom, and countries boom.
I like that very much because at this point in the country, a lot of people are looking for someone to put them on, and we thought that this would create a great avenue for newer jobs and newer experiences. I mean, Enugu could use some professional hospitality trainings. We have hotels in Enugu, really great stuff. But for the first time, you're about to bring in a standard that everybody will have to try to reach up to or match up with, and that's something I'm really glad for.
And that's difficult, by the way.
Okay,
So we don't have
tell me how difficult it is from your perspective.
Well, it's difficult for many reasons, because what we're trying to do hasn't been done before here, right? And we did this in Lagos, and one of the issues we had is when we started is we had to take our entire team to Dubai.
Wait, you did?
Yes. I took over 100 people to Dubai.
When you came here?
When we came. I took 100 people that worked for me to Dubai. And I'm talking about everybody from the cleaners to the receptionists to the managers to the executives. We put them in a 5-star hotel, and we stayed there for 7 days.
Training.
Yeah, training and learning and experiencing and immersing ourselves, right? So it's difficult because it's very hard to produce what you haven't seen, only what people have told you.
Okay.
So that level of exposure and experience, we have to find a way to translate it and scale it up rapidly. So it's not going to happen overnight. This is a slow burn.
Okay.
It's a gradual process. We have to be patient. Even the renovation and the rollout of this resort is going to be a gradual process.
A man like you must have learned patience. How does it feel, or how do you get to manage people? Because I do realize that it's quite difficult to handle people and manage people. How are you able to manage people and then get the best out of them and get all these beautiful things done?
Another great question, by the way. I always say to people that my job is to make ordinary people do extraordinary things.
Okay.
Right? And as long as you can give people that self-worth, you take care of them, you look after them, you tell them they're working for themselves, but they're working for you, right? And the better they are, the better you are, right? And the better you get, the better they will be. And you have to create that link. It's like the population and tax paying, right?
Okay.
People pay tax when they believe that the taxes are doing something for them.
That's right.
And if people don't believe the taxes are doing anything, they don't pay taxes. It's really as simple as that.
That's true.
This is the same bond you have to build with your staff, right?
Okay.
And it's a really gradual process, because people do have bread and butter issues here. There is not a...
Tell me.
there's not a social security platform in this place, right? So when you don't have a job, or you don't have money, or you don't have education, you have nowhere to go. Right? And that's the problem in the country. And it's a problem that employers have to solve, because we have to now employ people, look after them, probably look after their family as well.
That's true.
Make sure, look after their health. And those ones that haven't had education, you're going to have to find a way to educate them, right?
Wow, now that sounds difficult.
So it's difficult, and it's a slow burn, but we're going to have a damn good attempt at trying. As I was saying, we did this before, and in Lagos, yes.
we trust you.
Yes,
we know you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Lagos, we in a 6-year period, we ended up employing over 4,000 people. But most
6-year period.
Yes, but most importantly, we created a destination that welcomed 4.5 million visitors a year. If you put that in numbers, that's 12,000 people a day, right? And that was done when people thought it was impossible.
Okay, these numbers are doing my head in. Okay, these are doing my head in, and it speaks about a great success on your part. And I have so much respect. I don't call it success,
but it's a journey. It's a pleasurable journey.
It's a journey.
It's a pleasurable journey, yes.
It's a journey. I have a lot of learning to do. Okay, so I'm sure that as you're telling me all of this, you must have experienced some challenges. You must have experienced some bridges. How did you pass them? How did you get through?
Many of the challenges are obvious, right? And if you ask anybody in business and ask them, what are your challenges? Number one, regulatory environment. Number two, people. Number three, money, right?
Right.
So you will experience all those, but don't let them be roadblockers. It is what it is, right?
Okay.
And we've experienced those, but there are also smaller challenges, right? So you take over a place like this, and you have an expectation.
Okay.
And you come here, and that expectation is either exceeded or not met, right? But whatever it is, you have to adjust to it. And there's no point complaining about certain things.
Okay.
You have to figure out how to do this in the best and most efficient way possible. The second challenge you have is everybody expects things to be done yesterday. The problem with emerging nations is they remain emergent because people rush to do things and don't plan properly and don't make things long lasting and don't create things that will last for a long time and give pleasure for a long time, right?
Okay.
So we've had to balance those two things. The desire to do it quickly and start earning money and meeting people's expectations, and also the desire to create something long lasting that will stand the test of time.
So what do we need for this durability? How do we, because now I'm speaking from an outsider's perspective, right? So if you wanted to advise me, how would you tell me, how would you teach me to build something that's sustainable over time? What are the steps that I should take?
So the first step is do your research properly, right?
Okay.
Have all the facts on the table. It's like getting into a car and going somewhere that you've never been before, right? You could either just enter the car, start driving and figure your way out, or you can plan your journey and then get there, right?
Okay.
The truth is, if you plan your journey, even you spend 10 minutes planning, you will get there faster, right? Than just figuring your way out, because you're going to get lost a few times. So the planning element of what you do is incredibly important. The second important thing is alignment, is make sure your stakeholders are aligned. The stakeholders are not people you employ, right? Stakeholders are people you're going to serve and people who are going to ensure that this place is successful. So whether it's people who work with you or people who provide services, whether it's construction or vendor services or supply chain, or whether it's the government or it's your guests, you need to consider all of them and say, what's in it for everybody, right? And make sure that you're true and loyal to that philosophy, right? Because when you go through hard times, those are the people who are going to save you, right? So that's the second thing. And I'll say the third thing, the money thing always comes up, right? You have to find ways to ensure that you have capital that doesn't hurt you.
You have to find ways.
Yes, you have to find ways to ensure you have capital that doesn't hurt you. So, they say that many capital givers as friends, family, and angels, right?
Is that so? Is that so, really?
Yes. So you need to find all three, right?
Okay.
And you need to make sure you have patient capital, and of course, I'm a strong believer in leveraging. So you do borrow as well, because it also creates certain disciplines. A lot of people don't like to borrow. They say, I don't borrow money.
Oh yeah, we've heard businessmen say they borrow.
A lot of people say that.
Does that? Okay, so
I don't understand.
Can you just explain it to us, right? How the borrowing can keep you in the discipline lane. How does that happen?
So borrowing does three things. One, first, before you borrow, you have to plan. So it forces you to plan.
Okay,
right?
what I'm going to do with the money.
Nobody's going to give you money unless you can tell them what you're going to do with it and how you're going to do it, right?
Okay.
So it forces you to plan and think of certain things. That's the first thing, and it's very extremely important. Understated, but important.
Okay.
The second thing borrowing does, it gives you a discipline, because you have to pay it back, right? And you're going to pay it back over a period of time, and you're going to calculate how much you require to pay it back. So that discipline it gives you in terms of carrying out your work and executing and operating is very important, right? So that's the second thing it gives you. The third thing borrowing gives you is leverage, right? So when you borrow, if you borrow 100 naira to do something, your ability to multiply that 100 naira many-fold is a lot higher than using the 100 naira from your pocket, right?
I will need you to say that again, so that people who didn't hear you would hear you one more time. Say that again.
All right. So I'm going to use an analogy that finance people understand, and then I'll come into the basic, right? So analogy basically says that debt is cheaper than equity, right? Debt is money you borrow. Equity is money that you have, right? That's given to you and is aligned with your money. Now, when you use your money to do something, for it to make sense, you want to multiply it by a certain number of times over a period of time, right? 3 or 4 times is usually the practice, right? So if you deploy 1 million naira of your money, you expect to get 4 million naira back within reasonable length of time. When you borrow, if you borrow a million naira, right, you have, because it's cheaper, the strain on borrowing is only paying it back. But once you've paid it back, you haven't used your money. You've used other people's money, right? And once you've paid it back, every penny you make is profit, right? So your ability to multiply your money by 10 times, 15, 20 times is a lot stronger than when you borrow it. And you see, when you borrow money for something, you're going to use it for that thing, right? When you use your own money or equity for something, the problem with that is you're denying yourself something else, which may be important or may not be important, right? But you're denying something else, and there's always the pressure because you're saying to yourself, "Oh gosh, right? I put this money into this thing, and you start taking shortcuts." But it just gives you a discipline that's unknown. Now, having said that, I'm not telling your viewers to go out there and just borrow endlessly that you can't pay back. I think for businessmen
and women.
Yes, I think it's incredibly important to balance that, you know. And there's generally a rule of thumb. People say, you know what, I will borrow 60% of the money I need, and I'll provide 40% from my own purse or from friends and family, right? And that's a general rule. It could be, look, it could be 80-20, either way. But generally in business, you aim to borrow about 50 to 60% of the money you need.
Thank you so much. I've learned, like, I could literally start a business of my own right now. Don't test me. I have training from the guru. Okay, so Mr. Paul, I have to let you go because I know that I've taken much of your time. But I just want you to tell us, once again, let's talk about, you know, this beautiful place that we are in right now. What are we expecting to see, like, individuality? Give me maybe just some details and, you know, let's round it up that way.
All right, so I'm going to start from the hotel. So we're going to create what I would like to do is a world-class hotel. Create certain experiences, dining experiences, in-room experiences, in-conference experiences, and just create facilities around what you'd expect in a hotel for whether it's the business people, the conference people, or the holiday makers. But the most important thing about this destination are the two other things, right? So one of those two things is what we're going to do around the waterfront. How are we going to ensure that this waterfront is a real experience? So we're going to create water activities, park activities, things in the water and things on the island there and things in the lake, right? And unless you have a lake, a water, or a river near you, you won't be able to replicate those things, right? The last thing we're going to do is we're going to create an adventure park, which is a little bit further away from here. It's a little bit further down, and it will have a number of things for children, things for adventure seekers, and we'll have a whole host of food and beverage options. So people can come here, eat and drink different things, party here, play games, and you can bring your children. There'll be something for every single person. So we'll have the grandchildren and the grandparents all having a great time here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Paul. This is it. We've had a wonderful chat with this very interesting gentleman with me this evening. This is the landmark resort now. You know it as Nikki Lake Resort. If you ever find yourself in Enugu or you just want to get out and have a good time at home, okay? So thank you so much for joining me. My name is Mavis. Thanks a lot.